you want to stop letting your days slip away and start leading your life with intention and purpose to pursue your full potential, then you're in the right place, my friend. Welcome to the Claim Your Day podcast. I'm your host, Nick Mazey. Here, we stop just managing our demanding lives and begin to actively pursue our best lives, rooted in our values and purpose. Each week, we'll discuss practical strategies focused on becoming intentional with all that we do so we can live and lead well. Together, let's make today count. Well, hello, my friend, and welcome. Welcome to episode 45 of the Claim Your Day podcast. Glad you're here and joining in. I know we talk a whole lot about being intentional and making progress and achieving our goals, living out our values. And a lot of that is always forward thinking about what we're going to do. So I have a question for you, and it's going to sound a little bit different. But when was the last time you truly played? Not about accomplishing a task or managing a commitment, but just laughed, had fun, explored, did something you really enjoyed in the moment. See, in our drive for purpose and productivity, it's easy to forget about having fun, joy. And that very joy fuels us. Does that ever happen to you? For a moment, I just want you to think about a busy professional parent. They're balancing work and family life. And they're constantly striving. And then finally, they really hit a wall and just burnout until they rediscovered one of their simple hobbies they used to enjoy. Or they became committed again to regular fun with the family. And they began to find this unexpected just boost of energy and enjoyment. And it happened to also help them to refocus on their goals because it was rejuvenating. We talk a lot about this intentionality and progress, making the most of our days. That's what this whole podcast is about. But sometimes if we focus so much on those things in the future and these goals and all the things we have to do, then the joy can begin to slip away, and it's just replaced with a grind. So the main message we're going to talk about today is that enjoyment isn't a distraction from your purpose. In fact, enjoyment can really be vital, and it can be a fuel source that rejuvenates you. They might even help enhance your resilience, allowing you to really appreciate the journey of growth and some of those quality moments along the way while you're doing the things that you need to do. It can help you to push through the challenging times because you've taken some time to enjoy where you're at, what you're doing with the people that are most important to you, and enjoying your values and what you value most. It can really be a source to help you to achieve what you want to achieve. So as always, I have just a few points to be able to convey this message that enjoyment does have value. And the first one is it's just really just a misconception. It's a misconception that fun is frivolous. That is not the case. I want to think just for a minute about challenging this belief that intentional living, that if you're intentional and that you have professional ambitions and goals you're striving to achieve, we're going to challenge the belief that those things mean that you have to always be serious and that you're not allowed to have fun. That is a misconception, and we're going to attack it today. See, sometimes, I was going to say sometimes, but I think just really almost all the time, it seems like our culture, at least here in the United States, our culture, it devalues play and rest. It puts that down at the bottom, and then your professional achievements, your goals, all these other things, being busy, it puts that at the top. A lot of people wear being busy as like this badge of honor of an accomplishment. But you know what? That leads to burnout. And we see it more and more now, and it's becoming widely accepted that if all you do is grind, you're going to burn out. And that's when people completely leave their big goals, their corporate goals, their professional goals, And sometimes they have the ability to step away, and other times they literally just burn out, and it's not good. But it also leads, if all you're doing is striving and grinding, it leads to less creativity. It leads to, actually having less options for yourself. And that just joyless pursuit of goals, it's not where any of us want to be. Yes, we want to achieve our goals. Yes, we want to make progress. We want to, live out our values, and we want to do these big things that are important. But we can't sacrifice the joy to be able to make those happen, because then we just burn out. Now, the next point is that I mentioned this at the beginning. Enjoyment, it can actually be a rejuvenating force. Enjoyment can help you to achieve those goals. So there's really some psychological, some physiological, benefits of fun, relaxation, enjoyment. I'm sure by now, most people have heard of cortisol. It's that stress hormone, that chemical in your body. It does have some benefit. But the problem is that when we're under constant stress, or chronic stress, you might call it, then that cortisol, it does have a negative impact on our bodies. And we have to have ways to reduce it. Well, we can reduce some of that stress by having some fun and enjoyment. It can lower that cortisol. It can help us to improve our mood. A little bit of enjoyment, a little bit of fun, just and relaxation. It can boost the creativity and problem solving. Stepping away for a little bit from whatever the challenge is, whatever we're striving for, whatever we're grinding toward, stepping away a little bit for just a little bit of time, it can help lead to new perspectives. And there's so much value in this. There's so much value in being able to approach things from a different way. And that's where some of the fun and enjoyment, relaxation, can actually help us to achieve more, because we come back to work refreshed with that new perspective, ready to get after it. We're not burned out. We have more creativity. We see those connections that maybe we didn't see when we were just grinding and grinding. A little bit of fun, a little bit of enjoyment, a little bit of relaxation can help reduce the stress, can help improve the mood, can help lower the cortisol, can help us to have more creativity. It can help increase our problem-solving capabilities. It can even help improve some of those relationships. Quality time with family and friends, those ones that we cherish the most. We can share some time with some enjoyment, and that can help our relationships. And I don't know about you, but when things are really good at home, I am able to strive and grind and push harder at work. Is that true for any of y'all? So that's where some of the fun, relaxation, enjoyment, when helping to enhance those relationships, actually can help us to achieve more in some of our other areas. And related to that, this fun, enjoyment, relaxation, it can renew and re-energize that motivation. It recharges our batteries so that when we are getting back to those goals and some of those more key objectives we're trying to achieve, it's like your battery's full again, and then you're ready to get after it with that fresh energy. And that is awesome. And that's awesome. It's not a wasted time with some of that enjoyment and relaxation. And the third point is that really, when you can enjoy the journey, that's awesome. We're going to be achieving our goals. We're getting intentional. We're focusing on our purpose in our lives to really make them what we want them to be, and to live out our purpose. At the same time, we've got to connect with enjoying the journey, because that's where true satisfaction comes. You don't want to be miserable all along the way, and then hoping that when you achieve this goal, when you hit this milestone or certain marker, that magically now you're going to be happy, and it's going to be life. It's going to be the best ever, and it's going to be worth all the effort. Instead, we can make achieving our goals, consistently pursuing them, we can make it a long game by enjoying the journey along the way. We can appreciate that process of pursuing our goals. And what's really neat is that when you add a little bit of enjoyment, a little bit of fun, relaxation along the way, you make that journey enjoyable. It's going to make it easier for you to really dive in and learn all that you can so that you can achieve all that you can and be the best that you can. If you're just dead miserable along the way, then you're not going to really be able to take full advantage of that journey that you're on. The joy in the journey, it's not only found in that destination, it's in the growth that you experience along the way. It's about those intentional steps you take each day. And to maximize that, you want to be able to enjoy that journey. You want to be able to have some enjoyment in there. And the third point that I want to make, fourth, the last one, enjoying the journey, was the third point. The fourth point, and I know I normally only have three. This episode, we're going to have four, is that this quality time, this enjoyment, it's really the cornerstone of that best life. It's having that value along the way. It's not just that what you're trying to achieve. It's really creating that good life, that best life. If family is one of your values, then that quality time with your family, that's making your life a good life, the best life, as you're pursuing those big goals you have for yourself and your family. There's quality time with the people that you care about. It's not just a duty, but it really can be a source of joy and purpose. And I believe it deserves to be prioritized and savored. And whatever your values are, you have to spend time with them as you're pursuing your goals. It's easy sometimes, or tempting sometimes, to put off those things now as we pursue those bigger goals. But being intentional means that you're not going to completely ignore one aspect of your values and sacrifice it for the others. That's where it's really important for you to highlight, detail, explore what your values are so that you can prioritize your actions. And when you do that, when you're intentional with exploring your values and saying yes to certain things and saying no to other things, when you get really intentional about that, then it's going to make it easier for you to not ignore your most important things as you're keeping up with the demands of life. That's where we need to be at with our level of intentionality. This really does connect with our values. Your well-being, your joy, it's about prioritizing the things that align with your values. And I want to say, if your well-being is not higher on that list of your values, of the things that you're going to prioritize, I want you to encourage reevaluating that. I just want to encourage you to reevaluate that. Because if you're sacrificing your well-being too much, you're not going to be able to really honor your other values. You've got to have the energy. You've got to have that mental space and capacity to be able to live out your values. And in order to do that, you've got to be able to care for you have to care for your well-being. Having a little bit of fun with some loved ones, it can deepen that connection. It can foster that presence. It can reinforce those aspects of your life that are most important. It does take work. It does take effort. It does take being intentional. But you can do this, my friend. You can. So today, we got a few action steps for you. And one is just to make a quick and simple list of just a few activities, 3 to 5 simple activities that bring you joy, that you feel rejuvenated when you do them without any pressure to achieve anything. It could be going for a walk, listening to some music or a specific song. It could be reading, an article, like maybe a non-work related article, or playing a game, doing a family game. Hey, maybe that brings you joy. Maybe that brings you stress. Maybe it brings you both. Sometimes they get a little intense in my house. It could be, in a little sports league, or you're playing a pickup game of something like that, working in a garden, or even, working on some house projects. Whatever it is for you, take some time, even just like 10, 15 minutes, and write out a list of some simple activities that really do bring you joy, that do rejuvenate you. There's all these benefits that we just went over of having a little bit of enjoyment, having a little bit of fun. You know them to be true. Nothing that we talked about here is outlandish or shocking. Hey, a little bit of enjoyment and fun, it can help reduce stress. Hey, a little bit of enjoyment, a little bit of fun can actually help you to get more motivated and achieve your goals because you feel refreshed when you're getting back at it. A little bit of enjoyment, a little bit of fun can help increase your creativity and problem solving. A little bit of enjoyment, a little bit of fun can help you to remember why your goals are important, what you're striving for. A little bit of enjoyment, a little bit of fun, it can reduce that burnout and help you feel good again about life. These aren't shocking things, but we forget their value sometimes when we're just trying to keep up with everything and managing the demands of life. Well, that's what this podcast is here for you to do, is to remember that by being intentional in all that we do, we actually can make greater progress. We can enjoy the journey. We can live our best lives while living out our values. So you've made your list. So that's the first action step, is you make your list of 3 to 5 activities, somewhere in there that you really enjoy. And then the next thing is you've got to make a commitment. You've got to make a commitment. You have to schedule this week. Schedule at least one of those activities on your calendar and treat it as a non-negotiable. Treat it like a work meeting. It's on the calendar. It's going to happen. It was kind of funny. All these things get slapped on the calendar, work-related things that get slapped on the calendar, and it's like is written in Congress. We've got to do it. This is a commitment. But then sometimes the things in our personal lives don't receive that level of commitment. So you can't allow that to happen anymore, my friend. Now we're getting intentional with all that we do. So this week, schedule one of those things, put it on your calendar, treat it as a non-negotiable. It is going to happen, and make it happen. And then here's the kicker. When you do that activity, allow yourself to genuinely appreciate it and enjoy it. See, even just one small piece of growth or progress can really make a big difference. So you're going to appreciate what you're doing, and then appreciate, how that's allowing you to actually enjoy the journey to the goals that you're setting for yourself. You're going to have a little bit of joy, and you're express and practice a little bit of gratitude. A little bit of gratitude. You can allow yourself to feel good about enjoying the things that you're enjoying, and take that gratitude and cherish it. This might sound a little woo-woo, but it's maximizing the value that you're going to get by a little bit of this joy, a little bit of this enjoyment, a little bit of this relaxation. Take a moment and just appreciate it, enjoy it, and experience it. It's going to help you, because that way when you go back and you're getting back after your goals and the demands for life, you're going to feel a little bit re-energized, a little rejuvenated, and you're going to be able to keep pushing forward. It's going to be a huge help, my friend. Look, remember, enjoyment, it's not a luxury. It's actually a necessity to be able to sustain the progress that you're making and pursuing your potential, and really living that thriving life. It's going to rejuvenate your spirit. It's going to enhance the journey. It's worth the effort. So give yourself a little bit of a permission. Give yourself permission to infuse, and intentionally bring in some joy, some fun, some play into your life. I know life's busy. I know that. That's why these things that you're adding in for a little bit of joy, they don't have to be huge. You just got to be intentional with it. It won't derail your progress that you're making. In fact, it'll fuel it. It's not going to knock you off track from your purpose. It will be a part of your purpose. So identify those things, those joy triggers, we'll call them. Identify a few of those, schedule it, and then intentionally appreciate the growth and the value you're getting out of it. Let's truly enjoy the life that we're building, so we can be intentional and pursue our best lives. All right. That's it for today's episode, my friend. Thank you for joining in, listening in. Take action on these things. so you can claim your day, so that you can make today count. And by being intentional, living our best lives. This is what it's about, my friend. So excited that you're here and enjoying as you're on the journey with me. Hope you enjoy this. If you got any value, share it with somebody. You can rate and review the podcast. You can just tell them to, hey, go check out Claim Your Day by Nick Mazey. And as always, you can go to nickmazey.com. In fact, right now, I've got my head down. I'm working on it a whole lot, revamping the website so that you can have some more resources there and be a little bit easier for you to navigate to get all the things that I'm putting out there for you. Thank you for listening. Take care, and can't wait to talk to you again in the next episode. Quick reminder, should have put this at the beginning, but we're back. We're going to the one episode a week. Made those announcements the last few episodes. So I'll see you again next week.